know, I have not posted in about a gazillion years. I blame it on winter blues, but in all actuality, it's more winter laziness. These months I just want to sit down and read, which means, of course, that I have a whole bunch of books stacked up that I need to review for you. So with no further ado, let's get started with the contemporary romance I've been reading lately. I tried a new author to me, Sarah Mayberry, by reading book 2 in her duology she wrote. Violet Sutcliffe has severely disliked Martin, her best friend's fiancé, for the entire 7 years of the relationship. Then the relationship implodes, her friend flies off to Australia for a journey of self-discovery, and Violet finds herself drawn to stuffy, uptight Martin. I liked this plotline. I haven't read anything quite exactly like it, which, when you read as much romance as I do, is saying something. So I then circled back to book 1, Highland Nights, which follows said friend on her Australian self-discovery journey and the rugged Australian surfer she discovers there. But alas, this one has nothing unique about the story. I've read this plot 1,000,000 times. It did not have the magic of her best worst mistake. So that's 1 win and 1 loss for Sarah Mayberry. I will read more of her books and see where she nets out. Okay, so I'm a little behind on my review for this one, Merry Christmas Baby by Jill Shalvis. This is another Jill Shalvis Christmas book, but this one is set in her famous Lucky Harbor and is about married couple Chloe and Sheriff Sawyer. I really liked the original book where Chloe has asthma. It was a really unique, cute story. This one was also kind of cute, but I can't say I was head over heels for this. It was just a little boring. And in my continued quest to read all of Jill Shalvis's early work, I read The Trouble with Paradise, about a small cruise that gets shipwrecked on an island. This one was really weird for me. Jill Shalvis is trying to imitate a style that is not her own here. It's that style with brash first-person humor, and it's a style, if done well, I really like, but it's not Jill Shalvis's style, and it really shows in this book. It's kind of painful. I also tried Aussie Rules by Jill Shalvis. Unlike you might think, it's actually not set in Australia, but the male lead, Beau Black, is from Australia, and he shows up at pilot Mel Anderson's small airport with a deed that says he owns it. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? The whole thing was really ridiculously soap opera-y, but it was really interesting at parts. I kind of really enjoyed this one. Not bad for one of Jill Shalvis's older books. I continued on in the Gansett Island series with book 5, Hoping for Love. In this book, Marie Force really moves from a single main storyline per book to multiple storylines per book that stretch across several books. I kind of like how this works, as that's kind of how life is. Your lives are all intertwined, and no one story can be fully told in the couple months span every book is supposed to be. So, the new story introduced in this one is about a girl getting left on the island without any money by the guy she was dating because she refused to have sex with him. Evan McCarthy comes to her rescue. And I found Evan really, very annoying. So I'm glad there were other storylines in here to distract me from him. I went on to book 6, which is Season of Love. With that title, it sounds like it should be a Christmas book, but it is not. It was published in the month of June. The main storyline here is about Laura McCarthy, who's pregnant with her husband's baby, but found out that he hadn't exactly stopped dating other people since they got married, so that kind of went kaput. She's become the manager of a hotel on the island that is owned by the grandparents of one footloose and fancy-free Owen Laurie. Again, the main storyline of this one was okay. It was actually a bit bland, but I liked the layering of the storylines around it, like I did last time, so I'm overall kind of happy. I read Beautiful Secret, which is book 4 of the Beautiful Bastard series. In this one, Ruby is an engineer interning at a firm in London. Her boss sends her on a business trip with a colleague from a different department, and then comes the rest of the story. I'm hit or miss on this series. I've liked a couple of the stories, disliked a couple of the others. This one, though, is solidly neither. It was cute-ish and diverting, but it lacks somewhat of an oomph to make my indifference over into true regard. Has not been the best of contemporary romance reading lately. Any books to suggest that might pull me out of this quality slump?